Welcome to the Coastside Fire Protection District Board of Directors Special Board Meeting, November 15, 2023. Roll call, please, James.
President Burke.
Present.
Board Member Cockrell.
Here.
Board Member McKinney.
Here.
Board Member Cheryl.
Here.
Board Member Hannah.
Here.
Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board on any matter that is pertinent to our meeting here this evening? Any member of the public? Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting and ask for a motion on the consent calendar and also note that Director McKinney has asked to be recused from this vote. Do I have a motion on the consent calendar?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those, roll call please, James.
Board Member Cockrell.
Yes.
Board Member Cheryl.
Yes.
Board Member Hannah.
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0, 1 recusal, Director McKinney.
Moving on to item 6, continuing business, discuss and provide direction regarding proposed amendments to district fee schedule. Chief Cox.
Thank you. This is a follow-up to last month, when Matrix Consulting came back with their report regarding the fee study for the district. The board directed staff to come back with a draft policy, a draft fee schedule policy for the board to decide upon. This is that draft policy. Just a few things to note on here. It sets the recovery rate at 80% for the district. And also keeps the smoke detector inspections at a nominal fee, because of the safety element comprising it. Matrix did assist us in creating this policy and happy to answer any questions related to it.
I see that the false alarm fees were elevated. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's have an open discussion before we take any action on this. Comments, questions? What would you like to hear?
There's no attachment here, I'm putting on my computer. What was the fee schedule for the false alarms? Was the ratio or the first, second, and?
I don't have enough money,
Sorry, the new one or the old one?
Well, is this presenting a new?
This is presenting a proposed, yeah. So the first one's
progressive.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I see.
so right now I think it's about something like $230, I want to say,
Yeah,
or 157.
right, first and second, 0, third is 157 is current, proposed is 540, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which for some addresses in the district is a real problem, so this will get some attention, sure to go through.
Needs to happen.
And so after the 7th, then it stays at that rate.
Correct.
That's really.
Let me just make a couple of just general comments on this thing that, first of all, we're doing this not, at this point in time, not as the district is in need of funding. We're fine financially, so this is just the recovery. The recovery of costs is an accepted policy now in government operations. It wasn't always the case, but it certainly is now, the recovery of our costs. After the discussion we had last month on this, the chief did as we asked, they came back with a suggested policy and suggested 80% reduction from what was proposed by the consultant. Is that correct?
So the 80% is the policy of our cost, of our overall cost.
But I guess it's fair to say that, we picked 80%, but if we could pick, 60% or whatever, it's just a number. It's a very fluid situation to do that, to do it. in looking through the individual items that are listed here, as you look on the sheet, there's whatever there is a whole bunch of 100 of them are like that. Some of them, minimal, some of them are none, no increases. Some of them are pretty steep, increases to do it. And the thing that I find a little bit that I find missing is the number of times that each one of those things are people are called upon to do it. If it's one time a year for $100 versus 100 times a year, it's a little bit different, but we don't have that information to do it. In summary, I'd say that, one other thing, the suggestion here is that we have in front of us that there be 4% COLA, and that this would be updated every 5 to 7 years to do it. I don't know that somebody knows the 4% COLA is, I'm not up to date on COLAs, and I'm not sure whether that's appropriate even to have a COLA. If we're going to do it, and just have and the recommendations here without a COLA and updated periodically in the future. You know, if we're going to have a COLA, I can't imagine taking a lot of time to update it in 4 or 5 years. Comments?
My only thing that came to mind, the question that I have, obviously this is geared towards stopping or eliminating excessive fire alarm calls, to certain structures or businesses in general that tend to not do what they need to do on their end infrastructure wise versus not causing calls. Any chance that this would, hurt our public, just the residential areas? I'm sure that's not a big portion of the false alarm calls, but I don't have that data in front of me to know, but do we have any issues with false alarms with residential?
Yeah.
Like 10 in a year, I mean.
So this, just for context, this false alarms is one line item that we charge. It is, if we look at our overall fees that we charge, the majority of our fees are plan reviews and construction inspections. That is like, the large majority of what we use our fee schedule for. Really, this gave us an opportunity to update our false alarms as well, because it is a fee that we charge. It's very rare that we have a residential location that gets more than 3 fire alarms in a year. So it by no means is trying to punish them. It's really trying to reflect what are the true costs of us going out there additional times beyond what's reasonable to get. It's some sort of incentive for people to fix the problem that they have through really and I'll just kind of also add, President Burke, the policy does say that we'll use the CPI every year up to 4%. If it exceeds 4%, then we can use a COLA.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
The other question, I didn't even think of this, but I noticed that you've added now solar systems. I didn't realize that required an inspection.
Yeah, and they've, Captain Moda is probably better versed in this, but one of their things they do spend a lot of time is on solar inspection.
Yeah, we get dozens, I'd say probably 3-4 dozen a month of residential solar permits, and we have an interest in inspecting those. Number 1, for their electrical safety, number 2, for percentage of the roof that they cover, and number 3, to allow pathways and access for our firefighters to work operationally should a fire occur in the house. We still need access to the roof and know where that is. So we go out and inspect and ensure that it's installed as it's drawn, because they can draw something and build it completely different. So we go out and verify that. We do the plans check and make sure the plans are within our standards in the California Fire Code. So we probably spend between the 4 of us in the office 50 to 70 hours a month doing plans, and again, that same amount doing inspection. It takes about an hour to inspect.
When did you start inspecting solars?
Before I started in the office, I've been in the office for a year. I think they started doing them. I think I've heard 2020 or 2018, I can't remember. So we're in the 2022 code cycle. So it makes sense that the 2018 was the previous code cycle, so probably then.
So you skated. Yeah, I skated. They inspected my house. Yeah, we did ours back in 2007, 2008, something.
Okay, yeah, yeah, there was a period where it didn't fall into our purview, but I think in the 2018 or even 2016 code cycle, it became ours.
Thank you.
President Burke, I was gonna ask you if you thought that 4% max was per year or up to 4 or 5 years cumulative?
Well, as I was corrected, like, added to it, CPI up to 4%. But there would be, this day and age, there'd be an increase each year, so.
Right. 1% or whatever,
Yeah, yes, yeah.
It would seem
logical.
logical to me. Along this, another question along the same line, the one that jumped out obviously at Patrick and me is the false alarms. Going up to over $5,000 for a false alarm, I understand. We have a false alarm in my house. It's happening tomorrow. We didn't have another false alarm for 2 years. Then you get called again. Is that my second false alarm?
Annually.
So it's an annual.
Calendar year?
Yeah. Thank you. That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And sorry, our crews do have a record system in our first due platform where they can actually go in and see the last time that they responded to that location and what it was for.
Yeah.
So they can go in and see, oh, the last crew was here last week, this is the second time we do things.
Correct. Well, that sounds like a good way to do it, quite frankly. Compared to how we did do it.
Let me, any other questions or comments, here's, and I'm open to whatever you think is appropriate, I'd support the recommendation that here is in front of us. However, I would just like to, because of the uncertainty of building 44 and what we're gonna need for money to do that, make that done. Everything is kind of in my mind, tenuous until we get a figure to do that, and whether we should make this 100% or 20% or something else to do it is unknown. But if we were to enact this today, there's certainly nothing that would prevent us, when we're more familiar with what our monies would be required for 44 to come back to this unless it's over 5 years and change it. In fact, I would hope that, I mentioned before, that on the next budget, and we'll see in June, we'll have for the following year, that we have a discussion on the parcel tax. And we'll review that, and by that time, we may have I'm not sure we would have a contract for the 44 by then or not, but at least we'd be a lot more familiar with where we stand financially in total. With that, I'm supportive of this unless anybody.
I'm good with it.
Me too.
I'll make a motion to adopt the recommended cost recovery and fee schedule policy as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just want to say that I think that the fee schedule for false alarms is less to do with money making or money income project as it is one to correct an issue that can become a larger issue with businesses and whatnot.
I agree.
About making funds, it's more about making it clear to those that have 10, 20, or 50, or 100 per year.
Yeah.
False alarms.
Any comments? Roll call, please, Gene.
Board Member Hannah.
Yes.
Board Member Cheryl.
Yes.
Board Member McKinney.
Yes.
Board Member Cockrell.
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Moving on to item B, continuing business and chairman board meeting scheduled for December of 2023. I guess that should be if a board meeting should be in December. Chief Cox, do you have any feelings?
The only thing that, we have a couple of outstanding items still in front of us right now. This, Station 41 South Lot, which we hope to get a plan set completed by the end of the year, so again, I think it's appropriate. The first reading of the new fee schedule as well as the CalPERS miscellaneous plan. So those are all three still in the hopper, not necessarily time sensitive.
What would be the downside to deferring all these to the January meeting?
On the downside for the fee schedule would just be, the fees wouldn't go into effect until after the second reading, which would be in February. And then the CalPERS, it would just be a slight delay on any action that the board may want to take as a result of the closure of the miscellaneous.
But those items are languishing for months anyway, so it isn't like we're crisis to do it. You know, I guess my feeling is that, being December and the season and all that, that we postpone the meeting with one proviso, and that is that if something were to arise that would require a meeting, I looked at the calendar and it looked like December 20th would be a date that if we were to have to have a meeting, that would be the date.
Could that, and also could we schedule a meeting with 3 days notice, like 72 hours?
As far as I
I
know.
wouldn't necessarily have to be on Wednesday.
So I don't know that we need the board opinion is that we do not need a board meeting for December. Is that correct?
Right.
That would be my.
Okay.
Sure.
Gene, do we need a vote on that?
No, we were just looking for your direction, and I think I'm hearing from all board members that you find it acceptable not to have a meeting in December unless something urgent arises.
That's it, and that's our opinion. We're gonna stick with it. All right, moving on to item 7, new business, review, discuss, and take action to open a California class investment account, chief costs.
Thank you. This, and I'll defer to you as well. This was a presentation at the finance committee meeting had today regarding potentially opening a California class account. Really, the basis of this is diversification for reserve funds.
You know, we've had this on previously, and I'll just add to that is that California class is an investment vehicle, extremely well-run. It is. It was founded by the League of Cities, California League of Cities, the California Special District. It's being managed by an organization called the Public Trust Company out of Midwest Chicago or someplace where they're located. The finance committee had a representative from Public Trust who came and gave us an overall briefing and answered a lot of questions. As of today, the California class fund is earning 5.5%, I believe it was, and roughly 2% above length to do it. Our input and direction, finance committee direction was we were doing it not for the money thing, but just to diversify further to do it. Money that's invested in California class, and the proposal that we had previously was we put $1.5 million from our fund balance from last year into California class. That money is redeemable the next day if we, for some reason, were to have it. The California class has put out a good deal of information on their operations and that type of thing. And it's available anywhere, including online. With that, I'll just open it up for discussion to see if anybody has any questions or comments.
I think we should go ahead with it.
Make a motion.
I move that we put $1.5 million in California class.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Gene.
Board Member Cockrell,
Yes.
Board Member McKinney,
Yes.
Board Member Cheryl,
Yes.
Board Member Hannah.
Yes.
President Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to board of directors and chiefs report, the finance committee, as I mentioned, just had a meeting with California class and we covered that. We do not have the spreadsheets for the month due to our early meeting this month, but that will be available as a public document, if any member would like to review that type of thing. Also in our packet, I would call attention to two public documents that if any member of the board or public would like to see all our investments in PAS, there are two documents that outline. One is that the fund performance as to how PAS is doing is in our packet, a public document, and it is somebody they're doing very well with our money. And this is money that is reserved for healthcare for our prior employees. It also has an interesting document in terms of the asset allocation, how they spread the money around. That's strictly information that's available to the public, and I have more comments on the finance. No. Volunteer committee, Director Clark.
I attended the volunteer meeting and was there for all the committee reports, and they talked a little bit about obviously the parade, gathering different pieces of equipment. There's some stuff involving the 501c3, having to do with the fire hydrant that they're trying to get back to resell again for money. They're gonna be sending out Christmas cards. They made a $1,000 donation to the Heart Foundation. It's the Great Heart Foundation. They're giving out new pagers to volunteers. I'm trying to get the old ones back. There's auto extraction and training. With the CSFA training coming up. And the training that they're going to be getting will be free for the volunteers. Their paramedic training is complete. And now they have to do their internship and their operating experience, I guess, the president later.
Right along.
And I had a chance to speak with one of our scholarship recipients. He's all involved and really into it. Sounds to me, based on what I've seen so far, is a most definitely worthwhile program. And in my opinion, it's something we should consider in the future if we can find them so motivated volunteers.
Did they vote pass?
So far, yes. So far. Only one of them was at the meeting. So I didn't speak with him. He was very happy. They had a treasury report, which I'm not going to bore us with. That's it.
You covered most of it. I wasn't gonna add anything else, except, we should definitely discuss in regards to the paramedic program, if we all feel it was successful and as well as the cost, because it is something that we should look into sooner than later. It is obviously a lengthy amount of education and whatnot, so if we wanna, have the next group, if there is one. The costs, I don't know, we're looking at what the schedule is, and what the school schedules are, and when that date would then be that a new group would start if we have individuals that want to do it.
And an employment plan for those two to come back in whatever capacity.
Yep.
And do that, so that our investment, our ROI is local.
We have spots.
Yeah.
To say it very simply, poor paramedics is good paramedics.
There you go. And while we're still on the volunteers, if I may, I'd like to thank, volunteer firefighters Trace Lamar, Chris Romeo, and Jeremy Schmidt, who devoted their entire Saturday to graduating another set of certs this past Saturday. They were outstanding instructors. Thank you.
Very good. Patrick?
No, that's all from me.
Okay, great. Land and Structure Report Committee, Director McKinney, Director Sherrill.
I don't really have anything. You show me.
Their meeting is next meeting is Monday because we're meeting a week early. We don't have the updates on whether or not any of the five, it was four, it's now five, review groups have come back with comments. So we'll know Monday.
Are you referring to 41? I mean, the 44?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The next meeting with the architect
Yeah.
is coming Monday at 1:30. So because we're meeting a week early, I don't have the most current information.
You know, I was gonna say this to the chief's report, but let me just mention one thing that again is really bugging me, and that is trying to get something done at 41 with the sidewalk. And this goes back to it seems though, it's pretty close to a year that we had a consultant give us a landscaping design there, if you recall that. And that consultant, as I recall, estimated to do the sidewalk, which should be done before the landscaping, something in the area of $40,000 to $50,000. The county has approved the plans, and we are trying to tread water, figuring out how to get the sidewalk built. And it triggered me, I was going by the other day, and you've gone by, people going up to get, they come on, one of those I was watching came off the trail with a stroller, and was going up the dirt path on the side of that hill. Man, if it's raining out, somebody goes up there, I mean, it's treacherous to go up that. With that emotion, I mean, I just somehow or other, whether one other thing, I think I mentioned last time, I did approach the city, the county supervisor, and I won't go into that, but I had no response. So, I don't know what the action plan is, but I would just ask the committee, the chief, and our legal expert to go see the appropriate people in the county. And I know we'd have to vote on this, but if the hangup is having the county pay for it, I think there's enough support here that we pay for the sidewalk, that is. But otherwise, it looks like it's not
Doesn't
gonna,
fit well.
it's not gonna get done. Well, first of all, let's find out before I go to that point. Let me just find out what need we need to do to get something happening.
Yeah, I think everyone here would agree about that, kind of sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
In that section. All is in the best interest of the community and what we believe should happen. I think absolutely leaning on the county. As hard as you possibly can in our capacity.
It is in the county plan, it is planned.
Well, to speed things up, we'll say, we go ahead and do it. Like, have everybody else do it, then bill the county.
Does it work? Does it work like that?
No. Or just have them pay for half.
I can add some context to this, because if you remember, RHAA architects came back about 2 months ago. Kendra came back and we reviewed both options 1 and 2. Yeah, and the action from that meeting was we continued their contracts to get us a set of construction documents that included the sidewalk. And those construction documents should be ready by the end of December for submittal to the county for permitting. That's not to say that the work's gonna get done, but at least get to the point where the board can make a decision about what they want to do based on the construction.
Thank you, that's helpful. And that's very helpful. I just added, excuse me, something.
And who is which supervisor, county supervisor is responsible for approving or not?
To me, I don't think it would be something that would necessarily go before the board, because it already has been planned, I guess. I don't know the answer. If it's a Summit County supervisor, it would be this district would supervise the Nemo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been very supportive of the code side. So my hope is that the PUD response is positive in terms of participating in the cost.
Chief, thank you for the update, and I just asked the committee if you would, wanted to see if there's something that needs to be done to get us done, because it's been languishing way too long. Okay, vegetation management, committee, Director Cockrell, Director Hannah.
I don't have.
Patrick?
I do not have anything currently to add, though I do think that it is worthwhile digging in, maybe, after the new year, having a meeting and maybe discuss. There's been a lot of land clearing and tree clearing and some things that should actually help us in terms of fire control, but there was also a downside to leaving tens of acres with nothing on it. I'm just curious how that's gonna be. If that falls into with anything within our purview, we should discuss it, but.
Well, usually the other thing, I mean, you need no trees.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and then they're only, Quarry Park South, if you look at that area. Just north of the East Miramar neighborhood, I don't know how many thousand trees were cut down, but it's a little bit of a clear cut environment there now. There was nothing there but the trees, and I'm pretty sure they're not gonna replant something to control it, or whatever. I'm just curious
In this area,
what's happening, and that's kind of the only location, but.
interestingly enough, in this area, there really should be no trees. This is a chaparral area. Every tree you see here is an exotic invasive species. I mean, eucalyptus, Monterey cypress, and Monterey pine, all three of those are invasive species. And quite frankly, if we go back to the way it should be, which is chaparral, you have mainly coyote, right?
Anyway, just curious what,
So,
what the plan
eucalyptus
is.
especially.
Okay. Special, district report, Director Ham,
Nothing that.
you might mention.
We'll talk about that. We did, President Burt did present me with an email from other people that are involved in CSDA in our local area, and they might be looking into doing local group or meeting of others, since I represent this board prior to CSDA. There's a potential meeting in the second week of December to just kind of discuss interest in having, whether it's 5 or 6 special districts that occur on the coast get together and have some kind of relationship. So I don't have much more information than that, because the initial meeting is next month, but I will get back to you guys after that.
Hopefully you'll be able to get to that, Patrick, is when they have a meeting, we look forward.
Yeah, there's a Zoom meeting this summer, so it should be very good.
Okay. Thank you. ALS JBA, no report, urgent preparedness report.
I don't think that should cause her to be here today.
No.
No report.
No report. So, Cynthia,
Sure. The good news is we graduated 33 new certs. So we now have 423 certs, active certs on the coast side. It was an excellent day. The volunteer firefighters were wonderful. We had 80 people here at Fire Station 40. The people who were not students were the instructors and the cert volunteers who come back to be sure that the new students succeed. And that they are refreshing their own skills too. It's a way of continuing engagement and being sure that their skills stay sharp. So that was just very gratefully a huge success and could not be done without the support of the Coast Side Fire Protection District and this amazing facility. So thank you very, very much. We already have we have 33 people already signed up for our next round in March. For
right?
spring cert, we have our dates already approved by the training office for this fall and for the spring and fall training in 2024. We are working on our SOPs, and in accordance with that, we're going to change this thing to be called the Cert Academy, just so that the semantics line up with the fire services lingo for training, and our students will be called candidates instead of students. Again, this is just to keep a consistency with fire services cement, if that's acceptable to Chief Cox and fire services. Okay, good. And we're working on the SOPs now, and the rest of the detail for our schedule for 2024.
Very good, thank you, Cynthia. Attorney's report. James,
Nothing.
you have
Nothing, thank you.
fire marshal report.
For the previous month, we are on pace with all of our plans inspections, construction inspections. Our annual business inspections are getting done, engine crews as well as the ones we perform internally within the office. We did receive a plan set for a planning case on the north end of the Coast Side Fire Protection District for Station 44 yesterday. So we will be reviewing that meticulously over the next coming days. Some major projects happening, 555 Kelly, a 100% affordable housing project, a large building on Kelly, is now a building permit. We made comments to the plans previously, and it's now in a building permit process. We also received a plan set for improvements along Highway 1, just basically repaving the section north of Half Moon Bay, south of El Granada. So we're looking forward to seeing that get done. Again, dozens of solar, single family dwelling and accessory dwelling units are still coming in. And finally, Coast House, 230 South Cabrillo, our number one false alarm. They're getting a new fire alarm system. They have a permit and the install is happening as we speak and should be done within about 3 weeks to greatly reduce the number of false alarms.
Excellent, excellent.
End of report.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions? Comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on, fire chief report.
Thank you. I'll start with bittersweet news. Chris Spadley has accepted a promotion within CAL FIRE. He's going to be promoting to AGPA, which is Associate Government Program Analyst at Helton headquarters. He will be actually responsible for cooperative fire contracts. So we'll still have a lot of involvement with him on our contract with CAL FIRE, but bittersweet just for all the hard work he's put in here. The plan right now is
Yeah.
the week after Thanksgiving, he'll work 2 days a week in Felton and 2 days a week here until we get his replacement hired. He'll continue here with his replacement until that person gets sufficient base training, and then he'll be full-time down in Felton. So, say congratulations and a bittersweet goodbye for Chris, but we'll still have him. It's good news for him, both personally and great.
May we as a board officially thank him for his service. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, of course. Have a chat with you between now and the next meeting and we do that. Yeah. We actually had a tour last week with the CEO's office, as well as Supervisor Corzo, who's the new supervisor for District 2. In and around the county, talking about fire hazard, radio repeater infrastructure, fuel reduction work, cooperative fire protection. Spent about 4 hours again. It was a good day and a lot of information exchange. Starlink backup system for facilities. Starlink is now installed at all 3 stations. It fails over from the regular internet here and also backs up the station alerting system. So that should alleviate some of the issues we had during last year's storm as we start to get rain. The fire marshal's office, Chief Griffin has been in contact with Montero Water District on a hydrant agreement, essentially memorializing in accordance with what the code says for an agreement for the roles and responsibilities of the hydrants in Montero Water. So we should see that coming soon. Chief Hibden has also been working on getting updated GPS layers or GIS layers for hydrant locations in the district, so we have access.
Would this include making the sort of hydrants in fact visible in the cruise?
Yeah, so it will essentially say the fire department will make sure that the threads are greased, the blue dots are in the street, there's clear vegetation.
Clear vegetation, yeah, fire department, make sure it's clear vegetation.
Correct, yes.
So if we have a fire hydrant that's essentially been buried
Yeah,
because of vegetation,
yeah,
the fire department will arrange to get that cleared up.
right, okay, yeah, clear it out.
Thank you.
We're really just looking to have something official in place, so we have a black and white agreement as far as what the rules and responsibilities are. We got the actuarial back for the miscellaneous CalPERS plan. We should have that before the board at a later meeting. And the Coast Radio build out, we had another meeting between Public Safety Communications and Raven Tech, who's the IT radio person for the ALS-JPA. And the plan is coming together well to get the Coast Radio system build out complete. Right now, their priority is the the central zone, Hillsborough, Millbrae, all that area. And then after that, the coast zone will get some attention. It will have to be timed a little bit just because you can't change radio systems mid-year because you have to get people trained, you have to get their radio reprogrammed, and you gotta have a start date. So it may still be 18 months from now before we see anything, but it's in the works. As far as operations go, one water rescue recently about a mile out, the person did survive. We did have a nice correspondence on next door about a CPR call in El Granada where the crews were able to actually resuscitate and the person came back to full function and wrote nicely about their response. The drone operators had a statewide training with the US Coast Guard and their interoperability. And as far as PSC is concerned and the fire chiefs, we are going to be taking the steps in the near future to revert back to station ordering dispatching as opposed to ADL based dispatching. And what that means is essentially, if a call happens in a certain location in that zone, dispatch will send resources based on a list, a predetermined list of what location, what resources should go. And this is really a result of some issues that have occurred over the past couple of years where topographical features are not considered in the recommendation. So although it's an ADL based recommendation, it can't account for topography or traffic. So fire chiefs have made the decision countywide to go back to this in anticipation of refining the GIS system to a place where it's more reliable. So we shouldn't see any changes on the response side. It's just the system that is used in the backup mode will be used in the primary mode until the GIS issues can get resolved. As far as facilities go, the fencing project nears completion. There's going to be gate access with a keypad. So when that gets in place, we'll make sure everybody has the codes. The installation project should start here relatively shortly on the apparatus bay. I think they're going to do it in 3 sections. But it'll be a mess just getting the old stuff out and getting that new stuff sprayed in. As far as apparatus goes, ERV 40 is now in service. The training has been complete with the crews. The Battalion 10 Charlie vehicle is nearing completion, looking at the beginning of December for delivery of that. And then still waiting on the 2 engines. The Type 3 should be here first sometime next year. And then hopefully in 2025, we will see our final Type 1.
Did you say ERV 40?
ERV.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, the small.
I know you said it, yes.
Yeah. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Just something I wanted to mention, because the finance thing is interesting that release having to do with CalPERS and affects us. And the net of this output is that for the last 2 years, CalPERS has not met its goals of 6.8 for the year. The year it has not met that, and every time they do not need it, our rates go up dramatically, and that's what's going to happen. We can anticipate that this next fiscal year. It's just an item. That's it. Chief, we don't do not have a date for open house again on 24.
We do not. We're waiting on the answer back from the county regarding the coastal commission.
And is the temporary contract for when construction is going on in 41, is that completed?
That is not. We are still awaiting again on permitting from the county as to whether we will be subject to a coastal development permit with the coastal.
The temporary.
Smile and nod.
Like my tone. Thank you. Anything else? Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.